Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Teacher Masoro, and today I'm going to teach you how to complete the square and how to find the turning point of a graph using this method. So if you want to learn that, tune in. Number 1, we are supposed to write x squared plus 8x plus 6 in this form, right? We are supposed to complete the square. So the first step, we are supposed to make sure that the coefficient of x squared is 1, right? So that you can complete the square and arrange your expression in this form. After x squared, make sure that you write the coefficient of x, then the constant at the end. Okay, now we're going to start completing the square. So we have x, you divide the coefficient of x by 2, right? You divide the coefficient of x by 2. So we're going to have 8 divided by 2, which is 4. Then you square. You square, make sure that you put them in a bracket, then square, right? After that, you subtract. You always subtract. Whether you have a positive or a negative, you always subtract this term squared, okay? So minus 4 squared plus 6, okay? So this is going to be x plus 4 squared minus 16 plus 6. Minus 16 plus 6 is going to be negative 10, right? If you punch your calculator, you start with minus 16 plus 6, right? Don't just punch 16 plus 6. No, it's wrong. Start with this negative, right? So we managed to express this expression in this form, which means our A is 4, our B is negative 10. What if they ask you to find the turning point of this graph? Okay, so to find the turning point, you just look at the answer here, right? You just look here, you equate this to 0. So you're going to have x plus 4. You're going to have x plus 4 equals to 0, which means our x is negative 4, right? And our y is just negative 10. You just take this. This is going to be your y. So the turning point of this graph is going to be negative 4, negative 10, right? This is how to find the turning point. And you can tell that this is a minimum curve because our x squared is positive. You can just tell from looking at the expression. Okay, now let's get to number 2. Number 2, we are supposed to express 2x squared minus 12x plus 25 in this form. You can see that here the coefficient of x squared is 2. It's more than 1, okay? And you can see that our A is outside the bracket, okay? So if the coefficient of x squared is more than 1, make sure that you factor out the number there. So we're going to factor out 2. So we're going to have 2x squared minus 6x plus 25 over 2. Okay, now the coefficient is 1 and this expression is in the form of x squared minus 6x plus 25 over 2, right? We have x squared, x, and a constant. So we can now complete the square. So we're going to have 2x, we take half of this, negative 6 divided by 2, which is negative 3. Then you square. We subtract this squared, negative 3 squared plus 25 over 2. Okay, we're going to have 2x minus 3 squared. You punch this in your calculator. You punch the whole thing in your calculator. This is negative 9 plus 25 over 2, which is positive 7 over 2. Okay, make sure that when you punch in your calculator, you start with this negative. Don't just punch from here to here. Start with this negative. Okay, so we have this. Now we're going to remove this big bracket. We're going to have 2x minus 3 squared plus 7, because 2 times 7 over 2 is 7. 2 times this is this, right? So we managed to express our expression in this form, where A is 2, B is negative 3, C is 7. Okay, now let's find the turning point of this graph. Let's say we have y equals to 2x squared minus 12x plus 25. We're supposed to find the turning point of this graph. Okay, we equate this, the term in the bracket, to 0. So we're going to say x minus 3 equals to 0, x minus 3 equals to 0. So our x is 3, and our y, we just take this. So our y is positive 7. So the turning point of this graph is just 3, 7. Then we are done. Okay, let's do number 3, the last one. Number 3, we are supposed to write 3x squared minus 6x minus 5 in this form. Okay, so it means that we are going to complete the square. The first thing, when you are completing the square, make sure the coefficient of x squared is 1, right? If it's more than 1, or if it's a negative number, or if it's a negative 1, factor out. Okay, you can see here is 3. The coefficient is 3, so you're going to factor out 3. Okay, and make sure that you arrange your expression in this form. After x squared, make sure that it's x, then the constant at the end. Okay, now we can start completing the square. We factor out 3. We're going to have x squared minus 2x minus 5 over 3. Okay, now the coefficient is 1. We can complete the square inside. So we're going to have x minus, we have this, we're going to say negative 2 divided by 2, which is negative 1 squared, minus negative 1 squared. Remember, you always subtract, whether it's positive or negative here, you always subtract. Okay, minus 5 over 3. This is going to be 3x minus 1 squared minus, this is 1 minus 5 over 3. So you collect like terms. This is going to be 3x minus 1 squared minus 8 over 3, right? So our answer is supposed to be in this form, right? So we're going to remove this big bracket. We're going to multiply 3 by x minus 1 squared and multiply 3 by negative 8 over 3. So we're going to have 3x minus 1 squared minus 8, right? We have managed to express this in this form. We can see that our A is 3, our B is negative 1, and our C is negative 8. Okay, now what if they ask you to find, the turning point of this curve, 3x squared minus 6x minus 5, the turning point of this curve? You just equate this inside the bracket to 0. So we are going to have x minus 1 equals to 0. Your x is 1, and your y is this one, negative 8. So the turning point of this curve or this graph is 1, -8. I hope you have enjoyed today's lesson whereby I was teaching you how to complete the square and how to find the turning point of a graph using this method. Make sure to download the worksheet so that you can practice. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Take care. Bye-bye. Love you.